Hey, how you doing? This is Adam Post, publisher of more than 1,000 comic books and marketing expert covering Bud Light. Bud Light's 4th of July numbers are in. We have the final numbers now. Sales ended as of July 8th, 2023, including all of the July 4th weekend. The numbers are terrible. They're absolutely terrible. This was the weekend they needed to save. They did everything they could. They did the free promotions. They did the new ads. They did the posts on Twitter. Brendan Whitworth, CEO of Anheuser-Busch, went on CBS and tried to make himself look good. He did a couple of interviews. He did what he could do. It wasn't nearly enough. Of course, he didn't apologize. He didn't take responsibility. And he didn't own the mistake that he made with trying to turn Bud Light woke and force that on the consumers. And as a result, the numbers for July 4th are an absolute disaster. Let's get into the story. Before we do, please be sure you are subscribed to the channel. Click the bell for notifications. Give me a thumbs up. I really appreciate you. I'm trying to get to 30,000 subscribers, so if you can subscribe, please do subscribe. Okay, coming from the New York Post, and I also do get the numbers directly from Bump Williams, but here's the story from New York Post. Bud Light sales tanked by 23.6% over July 4th holiday amid Dylan Mulvaney backlash. That is a revenue number, that is not a volume number. The volume was a bigger sales drop. Sales of Bud Light fell yet again over the 4th of July holiday period as the Anheuser-Busch brand lost more ground to rivals Modelo Especial, Coors Light, and Miller Lite. The latest figures show sales of Bud Light dropping 23.6% for revenue for the 1-week period ending on July 8th compared to the same period last year, according to Nielsen IQ data provided by Bump Williams Consulting. There really is a guy named Bump Williams. Have you ever heard of a guy named Bump before? I never have. Maybe it's a nickname. I ought to ask him. Meanwhile, Coors Light saw its sales numbers soar 30.2%, while Miller Lite sales jumped 25.3% during the week ended July 8th. Sales of Modelo Especial, which is quickly closing in on Bud Light's 2-decade reign, actually 22-year reign, as the nation's top-selling beer, were up 20.7% during that same period. Let's just take a little bit more of a detailed look at the numbers, because you and me, we're all about the numbers. Here's what they're talking about. Bud Light trends for the current single week, minus 23.6% for revenue, that's the dollar sign, minus 27% for volume. Volume is physical beer cans and beer bottles. Revenue is dollars. Why is the drop off for revenue less than the drop off for volume? It's because they had a price increase and they were really sailing to doing good business, Bud Light, as well as the rest of the Anheuser-Busch products. The sales increase they had from the price increase really was very good for them, all the way up until the stupid, ridiculous Dylan Mulvaney promotion and their response to the promotion after April 1st. A bright spot for Bud Light was that its most recent drop in sales was an improvement over previous weeks, which saw declines in revenue of 28.5% and 27.9% respectively. The current weekly sales trends for total beer were 8.9% for revenue and 3.5% for volume, which means there was a strong showing in the week that included the July 4th holiday and a nice win for beer on both dollars, meaning revenue, and volume metrics. That elevates their numbers for July 4th. July 4th is really like the Christmas time for beer sales. It's a very, very big time for beer sales. Anson Frericks, former president of distribution for Anheuser-Busch, has explained a few times that July 4th really is make or break for Bud Light. Turned out to be break because they didn't get their sales back up, because it's such a significant sales week. It's a huge percentage of the revenue that the beer generates actually throughout the year. Additionally, the Bud Light boycott has continued to infect sister brands within the Anheuser-Busch portfolio, according to the figures. And these additional sister brands include what was supposed to be Anheuser-Busch's next #1 beer. They knew that Bud Light was declining. That's probably why Alyssa Heinerscheid thought, well, let me turn that into the Dylan Mulvaney beer. Let me make that beer a lower selling brand. They knew they would have some negative effects from tying up with Dylan Mulvaney. This wasn't even their first Dylan Mulvaney promotion. Their first Dylan Mulvaney promotion was back in February we kind of all missed it because they didn't put Dylan Mulvaney's face on a can of Bud Light and then not explain that, hey, that's not going to be the new packaging for all of Bud Light. But what they were expecting was that Michelob Ultra, their brand, would replace Bud Light as the #1 brand in the country. They weren't messing with Michelob Ultra the way they were messing with Bud Light. The growth for Michelob Ultra before this promotion was good. They were doing well, and it looked like it was going to be #1. It's not now. All the momentum behind Michelob Ultra has also crashed. The Dylan Mulvaney promotion has done billions of dollars worth of damage. We look at the stock price, and people say, and it's true, stock prices go up and down. It's not that big a deal. It has not rebounded for Anheuser-Busch. There's been a big permanent loss in value for the company. They never should have done this. And when they saw they were in trouble, they should have backpedaled a lot more quickly. And of course, they still haven't apologized. They still haven't really tried to fix the mess. It just keeps getting worse. Budweiser saw a 6.6% drop in sales in the week ending July 8th, according to the numbers. 6.6% in revenue reduced for Budweiser. 11.1% reduced for volume, almost twice as bad for volume for Budweiser. Look at the growth for Miller Lite. It's incredible. 25.3% for revenue, 19.4% for volume. Coors Light plus 30.2% for revenue, 24.5% for volume. Yuengling is killing it at 34.2% for revenue, 29% for volume. Bud Light and Anheuser-Busch have struggled to win back consumer confidence after an ill-fated advertising partnership with transgender influencer Dylan Mulvaney. Mulvaney began promoting the beer to millions of social media followers on April 1st, prompting accusations that the brand was supporting a trans agenda. Well, that is what it was doing. I'm not going to mince words. That's exactly what they were doing. You were supposed to become someone that by your connection with the brand, and we all feel very close to consumer brands, especially ones that we physically consume and actually put in our body. If we would allow ourselves to be close to something branded with Dylan Mulvaney's face on it, yes, there's a very close association, and it's disturbing. People are absolutely revolted by the association. The people that like it continue with it, but the people that don't like it don't want to have anything to do with it, and you can't blame them. Nothing that Anheuser-Busch is doing to try to win back customers who will never be coming back is working. Any ad they do, any post they do on Twitter, all comes out with mocking responses, as well it should be. They're still not treating customers with respect, and they're getting rightly rejected for it. Charles Barkley also decided he needed to come out and attack anyone who would criticize Bud Light and their obvious, ridiculous social programming agenda. Charles Barkley defends Bud Light, slams Dylan Mulvaney critics as rednecks and a-holes. I don't know who he thinks he is to make a comment like that, but maybe he's been drinking a little bit too much. I don't know. NBA legend Charles Barkley called beer drinkers who boycott Bud Light over its tie-up with trans influencer Dylan Mulvaney rednecks and a-holes during a profanity-laced tirade in defense of the beleaguered Anheuser-Busch brand. Perhaps he lost some money over this. All you rednecks or a-holes who don't want to drink Bud Light, F all y'all, the outspoken television commentator told a cheering crowd at a bar in Lake Tahoe, California, where he was playing in a celebrity golf tournament over the weekend. Barkley's comments were captured on video in clips that have gone viral. In one clip, Barkley offers to buy people at the bar a Bud Light. Well, he can do that. He can go and he can keep buying people beers and support the company that he loves. And he can be the kind of person that wants to jump into a bathtub with Dylan Mulvaney. Some of us don't want to do that. In fact, 99.9% of us don't want to do that and don't even want to be nearly considered as somebody who might want to do that. I have seen way too much of Dylan Mulvaney since I've been making these videos. I do these videos because I get such great feedback from you guys. I really appreciate you guys. I do hope that we can move on from this story one day. I will follow it to its end, but we need to really get Dylan Mulvaney off of our screens. I'm going to go back to this one. Well, that's Brendan Whitworth, but anything's better than Dylan Mulvaney. Let me know what you think of all this in the comments below. Did you think that Bud Light had a chance to get itself back on track for July 4th? Or really, do they have no chance? Because it's starting to feel more and more like their chance is long gone. They won't apologize. They won't even admit that it was a mistake to do the Dylan Mulvaney promotion. Why would anybody buy Bud Light if you can buy an equally good or bad beer anyway? Once you're insulted, what do you need from these people anymore? Let me know what you think in the comments below. Always love to see your ideas. Please be sure you are subscribed to the channel. Click the bell for notifications. Give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you again soon with another video. And if I don't see you, I will miss you.